Hello, everyone. Right, yeah, tonight going to be talking about Ronald Hughes. Obviously, we've got like a summary of who he was and what he did during the trial and all that to read out, and an articles I found about where his body was discovered, and I can show you that on Google Maps as well. I'll show you that later, and there's also a clip that we'll watch of the news at the time, and Ronald Hughes talks to the reporters, and you get some footage of Manson saying stuff as well, obviously. So yeah, we'll watch that towards the end. And also, we'll be examining the Halloween party photo. If you haven't heard about that, yeah, the Halloween party that the judges all had. And, not the judge was there, and all the lawyers and everyone all went to this party that was pretty sick, actually. Yeah, so we'll show you in a bit. And there'll be chapters if you want to jump straight to the presentation. It's a live stream, so I've got to greet everyone. Right, so yeah, hi everyone. And how are you doing? Yeah, I've got to. Davis. I think. Sorry. That's it, yeah. He was Bruce Davis. It was about a picture or a postcard of Sharon Tate near where he was camping or where he was found. Never heard that. There is something I can show you on Google Maps that's weird about where he was found as well. It looks like he was found near a place called Devil's something, as well. I never heard that. And there is a story as well, but I might cover that on a different stream. That there's a story about two guys who met some guys in the area around the time that he would have died, and it sounds like they were Manson people as well. I wasn't even going to go into that tonight. We'll go into another stream, but yeah, there is more stuff about him as well. But yeah, I want to get into reading out the stuff because there's quite a bit to read out at first. Yeah, everyone. I'll grab at greeting everyone by name. But you all know, don't you? Oh yeah, and I'm drinking, what's this called? Country cream. Okay, so that you can see it with the light reflecting off it. Yeah, that's the Co-op. There's a supermarket called the Co-op in the UK, and that does. It's like the supermarket own brand of Bailey's. It's like Irish cream liqueur. Quite nice. Yeah. But yeah, there's he's just a strange guy, and he doesn't sound like one of life's winners as well. It's actually quite a tragic story. You feel sorry for him. It's just like he doesn't seem to be one of life's winners. And this was his first trial. And Michael's Back Porch recently did a video about him. That's what inspired me to do this stream because I wanted to talk about him for a while anyway. And seeing this video made me want to do a stream. And Casey's helped me out by writing a summary. Casey Fields from No Sense Makes Sense, his Facebook group. And he's writing a book. It's going to come out sometime next year, I think. But yeah. So yeah, I'll get to actually reading this out now. Give us something to chat about. Sorry, it's so small on the screen. There's nothing I can do about that, but you can zoom in on it later if you watch on a computer or whatever. Right. So this is Defense Attorney Ronald Hughes. 1970, March 19th, 1970, Charles Manson again requested to represent himself and was denied by Judge William Keene. He allowed Manson to dismiss and replace Charles Hollowpeter with the public defender Ronald Hughes, 35. He was referred to by the media as the hippie lawyer. It was Hughes' first trial. He allegedly failed the California bar exam 3 times before passing. I've also heard 5. He slept on a mattress in a garage behind a home of a friend. According to reporters, the place was a mess. One remarked that he wouldn't even let his dog sleep there. But on the wall of the garage, neatly framed and carefully hung, was Ronald Hughes' bar certificate. Allegedly, Hughes was so poor he had to borrow a coat to wear in the courtroom from a local reporter. Unknown in early June, Ronald Hughes went to the Hall of Justice and Reeve Whitson presented Hughes with photographs of, and they don't know who, presumably. Early June, Charles Manson was granted permission by the court to replace defense attorney Ronald Hughes with Irving Kanarak. June 15th, Ronald Hughes was accepted as co-counsel for Manson. July 17th, Leslie Van Houten requested for attorney Ira Rayner and Ronald Hughes to serve as her defense attorney. Hughes had only been an attorney since last June. It was his first trial. Hughes did his best to separate the interests of Van Houten from his former client, Manson. Manson was furious and considered him to be disloyal. Leslie Van Houten's attorney, Ronald Hughes, said Mr. Nixon was a contemptuous figure to make remarks about a trial in progress. Nixon's remarks caused angry protests in the corridors outside the courtroom. That afternoon, Judge Older quietly addressed the attorneys at the bench and did not take action on the motion. Hughes said, "The judge asked us to hold it until we have a verified press copy of Nixon's remarks." He added, "When the President of the United States finds it necessary to comment on the guilt or innocence of a defendant, it indicates that the defendant is past the point of a fair trial." September 17th, Leslie Van Houten's defense attorney, Ronald Hughes, accused DiCarlo of being given favors for his testimony. October 24th, prosecutor and Assistant Deputy District Attorney Vincent Bugliosi and defense attorney Ronald Hughes attended and were photographed at the Press Corp Helter Skelter Halloween party. The prosecution rested its case. Deputy District Attorney Stephen Kay spoke about that afternoon. "At the time of trial in the courtroom, I sat next to Ronald Hughes. We had rested our case. The defense was going to start on Monday. When we broke on Friday, Manson pointed across the counsel table and said, 'Attorney, I don't ever want to see you in this courtroom again.' And we never saw him again." November 25th or 26th, defense attorney Paul Fitzgerald allegedly spoke with Ronald Hughes on Thursday or Friday and reported that Hughes sounded okay at the time. November 27th, Ronald Hughes left for a camping trip to Sespe Hot Springs in Ventura County. Hughes hitched a ride with his teenage neighbors, James Forsher and his girlfriend, Lauren Elder. November 28th, Ventura County records recorded 1.68 inches of rain on the day. The heavy rains caused flash floods, and Elder's Volkswagen microvan was stuck in the mud. Ronald Hughes said he chose to stay until November the 29th with James Forsher and Lauren Elder. They decided to hitchhike home. The torrential rainstorm was so extreme, those in the wilderness area were evacuated. Closing arguments were to begin for Hughes on November the 30th. The next day, we learned that Hughes had gone to the Sespe on Friday with two teenagers, James Forsher and Lauren Elder, in Miss Elder's Volkswagen. The pair, who were questioned but not held, said that when it began raining, they had decided to return to LA, but Hughes had decided to stay over until Saturday. When the two tried to leave, however, their auto became mired down and they were forced to abandon it and hike out. November 28th. Ronald Hughes was last seen by three campers in the Sespe Hot Springs area, away from the floodwaters. They said they stopped to talk to Hughes, who was alone at the time. Three other youths had seen Hughes on the morning of the following day, Saturday the 28th. He was alone, well away from the flood area. Chatting with them briefly, he appeared neither ill nor in any danger. Polygraphed, the three were found to have no additional knowledge and they were not held. Since Forsher and Elder had last seen Hughes a day earlier, they apparently were not polygraphed and their story was taken at face value. In a 2017 interview, Stephen Kay mentioned Hughes was last seen up in the Sespe Hot Springs, swimming in a natural pool after having taken LSD. By the time his body was located, it was too badly decomposed to tell the cause of death, so it could have been natural causes. November 29th, Ventura County recorded 1.44 inches of rain on the day, tragically affecting the life of Ronald Hughes. Closing arguments were set to begin. Hughes, the defense attorney for Leslie Van Houten. Sorry, I've got to switch the slide on the screen, actually, haven't I? There's another page there, just in case anyone is trying to read on. So November 30th, closing arguments were set to begin. Ronald Hughes, the defense attorney for Leslie Van Houten, was missing. When court resumed on Monday, November 30th, Ronald Hughes was absent. Quizzed by Judge Older, none of the other defense attorneys knew where he was. December the 2nd, Ventura County Sheriff deputies had to wait a few days to launch a search for Ronald Hughes. 1971, March 20th, 5:35 p.m. The Los Angeles County Sheriff Department received an anonymous call from a man claiming defense attorney Ronald Hughes' corpse was not in the Sespe Hot Springs area, but had been buried near Barker Ranch, 200 miles away. The Inyo County Sheriff's Department called the March 21st, the Inyo County Sheriff's Department called the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department asking to search the area around Barker Ranch for Ronald Hughes' corpse. Captain Jim Richards, the commander of the Ventura County Sheriff's Detective Bureau, told Inyo sheriffs he was sending his detectives with the Los Angeles County deputies to Barker Ranch to investigate. Richards said, "It just seems to be another lead that we have to check out." March 29th, after several months and dozens of searches for defense attorney Ronald Hughes, 35, his decomposed corpse was found by fishermen John Wells and Don Chessman, washed up near Sespe Hot Springs. The Ventura County coroner concluded Hughes' cause of death was due to drowning when a flash flood occurred while he was camping in the Los Padres National Forest. After the trial, Sandra Good claimed Hughes was the first of the retaliation murders to come by Manson family members. Right, so it's Sandy who said that it was a retaliation murder. But I'm skeptical because of the area where he was, and if there was a flash flood, it's likely it was just an accident. But yeah. So yeah, sorry, I'll just pause for a second before I show you the other article that gives you more information about where he was found, and then I'll show you on Google Maps where I think they're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, he underestimated nature. Well, I've always wondered why the hell he would go out there, because he doesn't seem like a really fit man who would go out hiking these places. I wonder if he'd gone out there to meet someone or find something that was hidden. And people say, why did he take these teenagers with him, or why did he go with these teenagers? I wonder if maybe it was something where he would have needed to climb up rocks or crawl into a cave or something that he wouldn't have been able to do. So he brought these people with him so they could get it for him or whatever. But it went wrong when it started to rain. Maybe he didn't realise the risk of flash floods. He didn't know about it or whatever. And so when the kids got out, and when he realised that he would have to hike, he thought, fuck it, no, I'll just wait till the rain stops. Basically. And he didn't realise how dangerous it was going to be. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, he just went out to take acid with a bunch of kids, maybe. Yeah, that does seem crazy, don't you? He was a 35-year-old man. They were his neighbour's kids. And yeah, but it says he hitched a ride with them, so he didn't like specifically go with them. But yeah, it seems like a strange thing for him to do, doesn't it? Yeah. Sorry, I just get the chat, see what people say. Yeah, it's very sinister. The timing is very sinister. Yeah. Yeah, you believe he was murdered, you see. It's like they know he wasn't like stabbed or shot or anything from what but his body was so badly decomposed it was hard to tell. And his head was all bashed up, but they said that was probably caused by him being washed down this creek. And I'll show you how long the creek is if he did get washed all the way down there in a second. But I'll show you the article first. Yeah, he goes camping. Yeah, why would he go camping by himself? I reckon, yeah, he must have gone with the kids intending to. But it's just a weird thing for him to do because he doesn't sound that physically fit, does he? And like the kind of person that did that regularly, sort of thing. And yeah, Stephen Kay said he was swimming in the hot springs. They saw him swimming in the hot springs on LSD. Which is mad, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, let me read this article because I can start to show you the thing on Google Maps. Hopefully it'll work better than it did last time I tried to. Right, this article, basically. Sorry if I butcher the name of the place as well. Right. The following article first appeared in the Wednesday, March 31st, 1971 edition of the Ojai Valley News on the front page. It is reported here with their permission. The author is unknown. The photo of Ronald Hughes was added to this article by the Ojai Valley Museum. Body found in Sespe area, probably Manson attorney. Ventura County Sheriff's deputies traveled to Los Angeles today to pick up dental records which will conclusively tell if the body found Saturday in the Sespe area is that of missing Manson case attorney Ronald Hughes. Although the body is the right size, and a friend has said he is firmly of the opinion that it is Hughes, tests conducted so far by the Sheriff's Department and the county coroner have proved inconclusive. The body was of a large man. Hughes weighs 235 pounds. Hughes disappeared in the remote area of the Sespe Hot Springs during a sudden storm, Thanksgiving weekend. The body found Saturday by two fishermen lay in ice-cold water about 7 miles southeast of the hot springs. The Sheriff's Department said the spot is in the middle of Condor Refuge near Pigeon Flat, close to the West Fork of the Sespe Creek and Alder Creek. Although the search and rescue teams and Mystic-led party had combed the general hot springs area, they had not entered the region where the body was found. It was not searched before because the area is so rugged and the creek was up so far it was inaccessible, a sheriff's deputy said. The area is known as the Narrows. The creek runs from mountain to mountain. Although the fishermen found the body Saturday, it was not reported to the Sheriff's Department until Sunday night. The body was lifted out by helicopter Monday and taken to Skillen Mortuary in Santa Paula. The body was naked except for remnants of a shirt around the neck, although the head was battered beyond recognition, apparently from the body being washed downstream. Officials said the remains were quite well preserved by the icy water. Autopsy work began Tuesday and is expected to take another couple of days. There were no outward signs of foul play. Along with dental records, fingerprints will be used to aid in the identification. Samples of Hughes' fingerprints were provided by the lawyer friend, Paul Fitzgerald, also a defense attorney in the Manson case. Fitzgerald was in Ventura County Tuesday to view the body. He said he was positive it was Hughes. He had a strange-shaped head, sort of majestic configuration, Fitzgerald said. The head is the same. Some of the beard is still there. The discovery of the body came on the same day that Charles Manson and his 3 female co-defendants were given the death penalty for committing the Tate LaBianca murders. So that's another crazy thing as well that Casey missed when he put together that thing. They found his body the same day that they were sentenced to death. Yeah, and this was also his first ever case, and it apparently got him killed as well. It's crazy. And yeah. But it gave you all those details about the location. When we go on Google Maps in a second, I'll show you all of it. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. The murder scenarios become too elaborate to be practical because what would they would have got swept away as well. It was a flash flood sort of thing. It's like, yeah. Or could they have killed him before the flood came and used it as a excuse? Yeah, Van Houten did, and yeah, Van Houten got separated a lot. And Susan, that's the thing I found out when I was reading all the penalty phase stuff about Susan. She was separated from the other girls even. Leslie and Krenwinkel were kept together, but Susan was taken off a lot more than Leslie even. They separated them all out, yeah. Probably because she talked as well, wasn't it? For her own protection. They were scared the other girls would stab her or whatever, yeah, because she'd talked, hadn't she? Yeah, I'll show you this on Google Maps now. Make sure it's on the screen. Right, so this is the Sespe Hot Springs you're looking at now. And there's the creek. There's these various campsites. And if you follow the creek down... Oh, sorry. Keep following the creek. This is where his body would have to have been washed all this way down here. Is that still Sespe Creek? Yes, Sespe Creek. You go all the way down here. Then where does it go? Sorry, I will find it again in a minute. Oh, yeah, here it is. Sorry. It goes this way. Ah, here we are, yeah. Sespe Condor Sanctuary. They said something about the Sespe Condor, didn't they? And Pigeon Flat is over here somewhere. That's Pigeon Flat there. Right, and you keep on going down Sespe Creek. And there's this place called Devil's Gate. And this looks like the only place where there's a fork that they could be talking about. Or this place. And somewhere... where is it? It says Icy... Yeah, there's a place called Devil's Gate. That's not any further down, is it? No. But it's got to be this area here, basically. If you zoom in down here. Coldwater Canyon, yeah, you can see it when you zoom in. Because they said his body was immersed in cold water. And you can do street view. Let's see what it's like if you do street view. Will it work? No. But yeah, it's probably this area here. And when I show you the slideshow of the pictures, or the picture, which is like meant to be where he was. See, there's rocks here, and it's called Coldwater Canyon, and it said his body was in cold water. And the creek obviously isn't up when these photos were taken. Right, so did that make sense to everyone? Yeah. So he must have been washed all the way down that creek to this place, and yeah, but there was that place called Devil's whatever right by where it is as well, which I've heard people bring up before, but I'd never seen it until I looked it up on Google Maps. Yeah, but that's the area where he was found, approximately. Excuse me, I've got a cough still. There's a cough going around in England. They're calling it the 100-day cough. Everyone's got it everywhere you go. Yeah. Van Halen. Yeah. Is that what it sounds like? Yeah. Yeah, spot some clues. I think this is fucking. These photos were probably taken quite recently, weren't they? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Devil's Gate, and that's another spooky thing as well. The day that they found his body was the day they got sentenced to death. And yeah, it was his first ever trial as well. And the guy was an absolute loser by the sound of things. He lived in someone's garage, and the place was a mess. The report said they wouldn't let their dog live where he lived, and he had to borrow a coat for court. He was so poor, he didn't even have a coat. Failed the exam millions of times. Let's move on here. Yeah, this is the party that they were talking about. Yeah. Let me read this out to you because it really is crazy. I've underlined, yeah, it says in violation of gag rule, even. So this was like on October the 24th, they had this party. It says, Helter Skelter party, X yourself in. And there's Charles Manson in a speech bubble saying, you will come. The judge will drink in chambers, it says in that speech bubble up there. Place, the bottomless pit, LA Hilton room, 90123. Date, we have no calendars, Saturday, October the 24th, 1970. Time, night 15 day and day 15 night, and 1 a.m. You and you are me, 4 to 7 p.m. Defendants will listen via loudspeakers, it says. The jury will be there, but their glasses will be clouded with bonhomie. Appropriate costumes optional but not encouraged, in violation of gag rule. So they went and did all this. And then there is this fucking photo, look. There's the photo of it. Notice the women have got nooses around their necks. How many of the women are wearing nooses around their necks? And the sign above Bugliosi's head is slightly cut off, but it obviously says, I'm the devil, here to do the devil's work. And that's above Bugliosi's head. There's a noose hanging at the back. And Ronald Hughes is sat there. The two women he's hugging there are lawyers, apparently. But yeah, these are all people that were involved in the legal team. And the woman standing up with the big hair, I've seen photos of her when looking through the newspaper articles about the trial. She's some big reporter as well. It's a press party. But it's really inappropriate that the lawyers went. Yeah. It's disturbing. This went on during the trial. Just another of many reasons why it was a sham. Really, this whole trial, all these things that, and also I found another thing about a skit, an inappropriate skit that the judge watched at a dinner during the trial, called "The Family That Slays Together Stays Together." And this is a picture that we think is of the area where his body found, but it's really hard to find pictures of this. So it's like we can't verify the documentary where this came from or anything. But this is thought to be where his body was found. But I think, the place I found you on Google Maps is probably more likely. And it does look like this could be it. So yeah, and then we've got the clip to watch. Yeah, we're all smoking now, are we? Yeah, so all smoking our. Sorry. Yeah, that's it. But it's just like it seems like a lot of effort for the Manson family to have put in, doesn't it? And how would they know where he was going as well? Because it sounds like he just did it on a whim. But I wonder if he had gone out there to find something that was hidden or something like that. That's my thought. It's just because he doesn't seem like the kind of thing a guy like him would just do for fun. Why would he go all the way out there just for a laugh during a trial as well? His first trial. Why would he do this sort of shit? I think that maybe there was something hidden out there, or he was supposed to meet someone, maybe. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think murder most foul? It is weird, yeah. But it's just like it just seems, improbable. And why would they know unless they got him to go out there to finish him off for some reason? They sort of tricked him into going out there for whatever reason, thinking it would be helping them in some way. And he was apparently instrumental in them having the Lie album. He helped them with that as well. And this comes up in the clip that I'm going to play you. So he did all that for them. But yeah, the poor guy, I just feel sorry for him. This was his first ever trial. It took him 3 tries to pass the bar exam. And it got him fucking killed, and it took him months to find his body. Poor bastard. Yeah. Yeah, let's watch the clip. It's got a big old watermark on it. I have to stay on the screen just to avoid the gremlins. So just let me turn it down slightly in case it's too loud for you to hear me. I talk over it. Right.
Even on the way to court this morning, Charles Manson was contemptuous of the judicial system.
Your court, I wouldn't accept it.
3 co-defendants who want to be tried with Manson were brought into the same courtroom today, too. On the left, Susan Atkins, Patricia Krenwinkel in the center, and Leslie Van Houten, all accused of murder. Their dresses by the Manson family, their song by Manson himself, titled, "I'll Never Say Never to Always."
Only perfection you bring.
Outside the courtroom, the Manson family treated the whole proceeding as a lark. Manson today dismissed his court-appointed attorney and again demanded that he represent himself. The judge said no. Manson then blew up and hurled a paperback copy of the U.S. Constitution into a wastebasket. I was going to throw it at you, Judge, but I was afraid I might hit you, he said. Manson then surprised the court by requesting the legal services of one Ronald Hughes, who has helped in the promotion of Manson's record album. The judge agreed. After court, Manson's new attorney was asked about his own legal experience.
Yeah, this will be the first case that I've ever tried.
How long have you been an attorney?
Just since last June.
Are you going to go ahead with the psychiatric examination?
No, we've withdrawn the psychiatric examination. I've seen Mr. Manson in county jail for probably more than any other attorney, 70, 80 times, and it's certainly my feeling that Mr. Manson is sane. There's no question about his sanity in my mind.
As Manson was led back to jail, newsmen put the sanity question to him, too.
This morning, the judge made a fool of himself. Again. And then he questions my sanity.
Are you sane?
I question his, huh?
Are you sane?
Sane?
Yes.
That's relative.
Terry Drinkwater, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Here, come back though. That's relative. Can't argue with that, can you? Depends how you define sanity, doesn't it? Really. But yeah, that was Ronald Hughes, the guy, yeah, who tragically died, whether it was by accident or murder. It was definitely to do with the troll. He wouldn't have been needing to escape and go somewhere distant to do acid, would he? If it weren't for the troll. If it was just that, if that was all it was, a jolly. But I wonder what his motive for going all that way out there was. But I've never heard of anything about the family doing anything out there or out like that. But we wouldn't know. They could have hidden stuff all over California, couldn't they? Because they had vehicles. They could have driven out all these places and hidden stuff, couldn't they? What was he looking for? Was he looking for something? Is that why he took kids? Oh, I've got 42 people watching. Thanks for coming, everyone. Sorry, just looking at the chat for a second. It gets really hard to scroll up. What was that? I've never had that. Don't know. The blue satin dress was made of Dennis Wilson's bed sheets. Might have been. They probably would have used the sheets and stuff like that, yeah. I noticed Susan's was dark, wasn't it, compared to the other girls? Is that because she did the grand jury thing? Did they make her wear like a black dress? And the other girls had the brightly coloured ones. Yeah, it's just creepy as hell seeing them singing like that as well, isn't it? It's just disturbing. Oh, God. Yeah, well, that was pretty much all of the content of the stream. So sorry if you've only just joined, because I've actually gone through most of it. There is another article about his body being found from CLA Drive that we come back and look at. In fact. You like the singing, do you? Yeah. It creeps me out when they did it, yeah. But actually looking into the way people were behaving in court around this time as well. There were people like the weathermen and that, when they were in court, they were doing all radical weird shit in court. But they weren't up for murder. They were up for some other stuff, like political shit, or fraud or whatever, they weren't up for murder. That's the difference, isn't it? It just looks so much darker because of what they're up for. But in context of the time, it actually wasn't that much difference to what lots of people were doing in court. They were all doing weird shit in court and you know. Yeah, that's it. Well, Leslie wasn't with them then, was she? But Cranwinkle and Susan were there, yeah. Yeah, they made the dresses. It said the dresses were made by the Manson family, didn't it? Yeah, so maybe they did. Well, they probably did actually, because they could sew. They could sew really well. If you look at the embroidery work they did, fucking hell, they did. Yeah, the girl singing is creepy. It would be good in a horror movie. You could do that, couldn't you? Yeah, like showing like some woman that sat there who's like been horribly traumatized by something. You know, like right at the end of the film, the last surviving woman, and she's just sitting there and she's like shaking back, and she sings a Charles Manson song. She sings something like that. One of the, yeah, yeah. That's the creepy thing, isn't it? They sound so angelic and like a choir or something, don't they? Yeah. A big log on his body. It's saying, I've found in other articles, it said his head was wedged between. Yeah, the other article, I will read the other article out because it contains an interview with the fisherman, and they said his head was wedged between rocks. Yeah, I'll read that out now. Wait a sec. The men that found him, sort of thing. Sorry, go get it on the screen for you now. This is on CLADrive.com. Los Angeles, March 29th. A body believed to be that of the missing Manson case defense attorney Ronald Hughes was found in the rugged Sespe Hot Springs near Ujai, and a team of Ventura County Sheriff's deputies was hiking into the area, officials reported today. Hughes vanished in the area last November. The body was found on Saturday by two Glendale men, Donald Chessman and John Wells, 47, who didn't make their way out of the nearly inaccessible area until late Sunday. In an exclusive interview, with the Press Telegram, Chessman, the operator of a television shop, described the discovery of the body. We spotted the body at about 11 a.m. Saturday while on a fishing trip 8 miles below the hot springs in the Sespe Narrows near the West Fork of Alder Creek. The body was unclothed, its right arm was missing, and animals appeared to have eaten some of it away. But it was in a surprisingly good shape for the time that had elapsed since death. Hughes disappeared last Thanksgiving weekend. It was decomposed, but not too badly. We tried to get out to where the body was, about midstream, with its head wedged face down under some rocks. But the current was too swift, and we weren't able to get to it. I couldn't tell you if the body was bearded, because its head was beneath those rocks in 3 feet of water, but the scalp looked bald. It could have been because it had been in the water so long. There didn't appear to be any mud on the body. The water's very clear at that spot. The sheriff's search team started for the Sespe area at about 9 a.m. today and planned to hike into the area unless heavy fog lifted, permitting the use of helicopters. Hughes, defense attorney for Leslie Van Houten, one of the 3 female defendants convicted with Charles Manson of the Tate LaBianca murders, had been late to court several times, so when he failed to show November the 30th, it didn't cause too much of a stir. The burly, bearded lawyer went into the rugged Sespe area near Ujai with 2 teenage friends last November 27th, the day after Thanksgiving. The 2 friends had hiked out of the rain-washed and flooded area when their car became mired in mud. Hughes remained behind. A telephone call December 1st from a man identifying himself as the novice trial lawyer led authorities to believe he was still in the mountainous Ventura County retreat. Oh, what? So someone rang up pretending to be him? I'd never heard that anywhere else. One of the calls was received at the Tate trial courtroom, the other at the office of Chief Defence Counsel Paul Fitzgerald. And a note from one of Hughes' friends indicated Hughes was stuck in the flooded Sespe region and wouldn't come back until the roads were clear. Several extensive searches of the area were conducted by Ventura County Sheriff's deputies, but they failed to find the bachelor attorney's body. Then last Monday, authorities began searching the Barker Ranch near Death Valley after an anonymous male telephoned the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department saying Hughes had been killed and buried there by the Manson clan. It was at the remote ranch site in Inyo County that Manson and his tribe made their last stand before being captured by lawmen. But the search for the lawyer at the Barker Ranch was abandoned when no traces of him were found there. Before his disappearance, Hughes had been the most colourful defence attorney, with no office, next to no money, and a mattress on the floor of a garage that he called home. He was replaced at the trial by attorney Maxwell Keith. A graduate of Queens College in New York, Hughes migrated to California, was graduated from UCLA Law School, and passed the bar on his 4th attempt. Hughes knew the communal family of Charles Manson months before Manson, and 3 female co-defendants were charged with murder and conspiracy. Oh, what? Yeah, he knew them before they were charged with the murder and conspiracy as well. That's the other thing as well. Yeah, he didn't just meet them at the trial. But wow, I had never read that. I had never heard that actually. That someone rang up pretending to be him. So now I definitely think he was murdered too, Linda. I agree with you. What someone was ringing up saying they were him after he'd probably died. So yeah, I definitely think that fucking he was killed now. If they were ringing up to pretend he was still alive, and his head was wedged between rocks, so heavy that they didn't get washed when the water was up. So yeah, that sounds dodgy as well. Like his body was weighted down. But it was a long way away from where he was, like the Sespe Hot Springs, because it's unclear exactly which one of those campsites he was at. But if I could go back onto it and show you like the several campsites around where the hot springs are, but it's one of them places he must have been. And then he ends up all the way down that near the Devil's Door or whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah, that's it. Why didn't anyone send out help for him? Yeah, that's it. They could have done something, couldn't they? Or a search party for him, especially, yeah. But apparently they did at the time. That's what they were saying. But he said something about a mystic in one of the articles as well. I'd like to know more about that, where the mystic came into it. So did they take a psychic out there as well? Because yeah, I was hoping to find more newspaper articles, but in those boxes of stuff that I've found from CLODrive.com, it's only the first part of the trial. It's not all the stuff from the penalty phase and the rest of the trial. But there's like all the articles from the beginning of the trial and around the beginning of the trial and before the trial started. But not the penalty phase, basically, which is unfortunate. So there was no articles about Hughes, but I managed to find these 2 articles just archived online. One by Salo Drive and one by that the town Ujai, or however the hell you pronounce it. Yeah. Must be near their town. What, you think Ronald Hughes? Are you talking about Ronald Hughes? Sorry, so I can see people are talking about some other stuff in the chat. Do you mean what? Do you think he perved on them or something? He spooked them out and that's why they left? But then maybe when it started raining and they knew about the risk of flash flooding and they said, no, we've got to go. And then it seems like they couldn't drive out because their vehicle got stuck. And when he realised he'd have to hike, he said, no, fuck it, I'll just stay. And they probably pleaded with him and said, didn't they? No, don't you know about the flash flooding and that? But fucking he still said, no, I'll just stay because he knew he wouldn't be fit enough to walk out of the area because it is quite a long way from civilization. They'd have to hike in the rain as well. So yeah, he probably just didn't. Yeah, but that's crazy. Yeah, and the fact that the Paul Fitzgerald received phone calls and they were convinced it was him as well. So it must have been people who knew him pretty well. And he knew the family before they was even arrested. He was involved with them for the Lie album thing, the litigation, to get all that done, recorded and all that. Along with that Phil Kaufman? Am I getting his name right? Don't want to get him mixed up with someone else. Yeah, Polanski had a medium come to see it. I found something about that because I was starting to go through the file of all the media reports that were given out, and I found a weird one about a psychic, from Holland, some guy from Holland, and he said that he thought that it was more than one person, and it was someone on LSD who did it. And strangely, at the trial, Susan and Crumwinkle both said they were on LSD when they did it. As well, yeah, that's the thing, innit? Yeah, that he was a bachelor. Because it was a teenage boy and a girl, wasn't it? And I think they were a brother and sister, so they weren't a couple. Yeah, maybe he did come on to the boy. And that spooked him out. I think it's more likely they were just trying to avoid the flooding. And I reckon when he realised he would have to hike out of there, he just said he couldn't do it, But he didn't want to admit he couldn't do it, so he just said, I'll just stay. And he hoped that he'd be safe, but he wasn't. But his body was washed a long way. If you watch that, I show you how fucking far down the river, the creek that he would have had to have got washed. if he did just get washed down there. And in that other article, it said some people last saw him some way away from one of the campsites, and he talked to them. Didn't they? Yeah. That's it. How did you get to a phone? There were campsites. Presumably, there would have been phones at the campsites, wouldn't there? There would have been pay phones because around the area. I'll show you again. I'll go because I've not zoomed in on the bit where the actual springs is, have we? Right. Yeah. I'll get this back on the screen. Right, and I have to zoom out a bit just to make it faster for me to get back up there. I'll be here all day. Right, so you've got to follow the creek back up. Now, where's it gone? There it is. Yeah. See, Hot Springs Canyon, and there's this Sespe camp here. There's like a campground there, and there's another one up here somewhere, yeah. The Hot Springs Palm Camp, and it said he was seen swimming in the hot springs, so it could have been this one he was at. Maybe. But yeah, surely these campsites would have had payphones. You would think they would, wouldn't you? Yeah. Okay, Manson threatened Ronald Hughes, who knew Manson and the family before the murders. He was a UCLA law student, and he would go out to Spahn Ranch to do drugs with the family. So yeah, he knew them way before, and I know he was involved in the Lie album as well, the putting together of all that. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. The first case he was ever involved in was the fucking Manson case, and it got him killed. Yeah. It's unclear because it doesn't say in any of the articles exactly which campsite he stayed at, but presumably there were phones there, so it was believable that he could have called from a campsite. But the people must have done an impression of him that was reasonable, mustn't they? Because Paul Fitzgerald knew him, had been in court with him and that, so he must have done a convincing version of his voice in that. If he was dead at that point. Like I say, I'll link all these articles in the description if you're watching this in playback, and I've shared them in my Facebook group. It's getting a lot more active now, and I'm getting around to putting everything onto the subreddit for the people on Reddit. Yeah, the Facebook group has been really active, so yeah, thanks for everyone who's posting in there. That really helps. And there are people watching on Facebook now. Yeah, there's 3 people watching on Facebook, so yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, that's good because 43 people watching, and I only advertise this in my group. So yeah, that's good. My audience is growing anyway. Thanks for showing up, everyone. Oh yeah, and like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Here's a show. Leslie, since he was her lawyer. Yeah, and like the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. So I'm at about I think 1,030 subscribers now, which is great. So thanks everyone who has subscribed. Alright, yeah. So I don't know where the river is in this area, but there's loads of creeks, and that Alder Creek. I saw Alder Creek as well because they say about a fork of Alder Creek, don't they? That was the only place where it looked like there could be any sort of fork, and that creek wasn't labelled anything. I couldn't find out what that bloody creek was called, and it was dried up. They must have took it at a time of year, the photo, when the creeks were dried up. Because at different times of year, they have varying levels of water in them, don't they? And he obviously got caught in some kind of flash flood, didn't he? But it's a long way away from where he was. Like I say, like I showed you, scrolling all the way down. That's spring. Sorry, just looking at the chat for a second. It's a fjord, yeah. Isn't that Swiss as well? That's a Swiss word, isn't it? Yeah. Monty Python made it famous, didn't he? To English people, anyway. Paul Herkos. I've shared it in my Facebook group. Some guy from Holland, it said. He went up there, and I'm not sure if he's the one that went with Roman Polanski or if he's one that the police sent, because it said he had worked with the police before. I don't know who the hell the mystic was that went looking for Ronald Hughes. I'll have to try and find more information about that. And they did actually go and search Barker Ranch because they got an anonymous phone call saying he'd been buried at Barker Ranch. Yeah, that's it. I read that out, didn't I? Yeah, and the first thing at the beginning he said, I don't want to see you again, and they never saw him again as well. And now I've heard that people was ringing up pretending to be him. That makes it sound all the more suspicious. If he did indeed die when they think he died. Maybe he did just stay up there for longer and ended up dying later, but he's bound to have actually died during the point where it was flooding, where there was all those inches of rain, didn't he? And it does sound like his body had been, because how would that naturally happen? Your head get wedged between rocks so hard like that. So it was a rock on his head or something to hold his body down. So I wonder, yeah, if you could you probably, I don't think you could drive down to the place. Maybe if the creek wasn't dry, was it? That's the thing. It does seem more likely he was just washed down there. Yeah, it was a signal that he wanted him dead. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. He wasn't talking to him. Yeah. And there's the fact that he knew them before so well that he went and did drugs with them at Spahn Ranch, and that he, I know he was involved with them before the case. Yeah. So he was a shady guy. Like I say, I wonder if his motive for going out there was trying to find something that was hidden out there or whatever. Was it or not? Because it just doesn't seem like something a guy like him would do for fun. It's kind of difficult, isn't it? And maybe he just chickened out of trying to walk out of there because it does look like it's a long way away. To have to hike. But yeah, how did he end up falling into the creek as well? It's just, why did he go near the creek? Why was he near the creeks during the flash flood? It's just fucking weird. Yeah. Nothing is ever straightforward. No, so I didn't want to cover it tonight because it's a whole other story. But there's this guy who came forward years later. I've read about this as well. And he said that he met two guys out there around this time, and they sounded like they was Manson family, basically. Yeah. It's a very weird story. So maybe, yeah. But yeah, now I've heard about the fucking funny phone calls. That makes me think, oh yeah, maybe he was killed then. It wasn't an accident. Yeah, we've been going nearly 50 minutes now, so I might end this and go to an after show. Because, yeah, I've read out everything I had to say. And I showed you the Halloween party photo. That's just another shocking thing, isn't it? That they all did. Can't believe they did that. Like I said, I found newspaper articles about this other situation where he witnessed a sketch called "The Family That Stays Together Stays Together." The family that slays together stays together. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And he was. I've heard other statements he made. Yeah, saying that he wasn't going to go with Manson's narrative. Yeah, and he said he found him disloyal for that. And if he had known them for a long time as well, then Manson would have felt they was personal friends. You know, he would have took it really personally, wouldn't he? Because that was the code he lived by. You know, the prison code. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do an after show in a minute. Yeah. Yeah, I'll stop and have an after show because otherwise just sit here rambling and it makes the show process faster and easier to edit when it comes to it. So yeah, I'll end this show now and do an after show. And like I say, join the Facebook group if you're on Facebook and you haven't already, because a lot of people, it's more active now. A lot more people talking in there, and I'm sharing all the articles. And yeah, I've got stuff to come for weeks now. I found loads of stuff, loads of articles about drugs at Cielo Drive and the Canadians, more stuff about Pick Dawson and Billy Doyle and Harrigan and all that. But in fact, I've probably found the bulletins. If you listen to the interview with a friend of Harrigan and Doyle, she talks about how he heard bulletins going out on the radio about himself and he went and handed himself in. And I found the bulletins that are probably what he heard on the radio, which is crazy as well. In all the press clippings that are files that are there. There's like transcripts of all the news reports that were going out every night as well. But it's showing you bits crossed out, so it's like it's bits that they didn't broadcast at the time, but you can you can see it. Some of it there's just a line through it, so you can see it. But other bits it's been really like redacted sort of thing or whatever. Yeah, that's all very interesting. That's all in the group anyway. And I'll be talking about that in weeks to come. So yeah, I'll do something Thursday, and yeah, next Sunday obviously as well. So yeah, tune in if you're interested. Excellent. Yeah, and I'll end this now and I'll come back and do an after show in a minute. Just give me a minute. Excellent. Good night, everyone.